Let's talk about the death of the Labour Party because it's been a long, slow death. But I think we're pretty much at the point where, as far as England is concerned, which is certainly the biggest part of the United Kingdom, Labour is almost without any meaning. And I want to consider, why might this be, what happened, and what lies in store, basically. So let's start off. Let's have a look at this chap here, shall we? This guy is called Keir Hardie. Keir Hardie was one of those who founded the Labour Party back around 1900. He was one of those to the fore, and he has been seen as a very influential person in determining bringing into being the actual Labour Party. This is what a Labour leader looked like in 1900. This is Keir Starmer. This is what a Labour leader looks like in 2021, on his knees to the Marxist BLM cause. Do you think this tells a story? Here's what Labour voters used to look like: working class men and women who appreciated that Labour appeared, at any rate, to have their best interests at heart. I don't think they did, but they gave that appearance. This is the sort of people that the Labour Party now puts out to appeal to the working class man and woman. Do you see the problem? Do you see the problem? Also, let's look at the numbers. Numbers always interest me. This is Labour Party membership over the last, almost 90 years, I guess. And as you can see, Labour Party membership shot up after the end of World War II till a record of almost 1 million in 1950. That was the peak. It then came right down through the 50s, 60s, 70s, and then it collapsed in 1980. You can see the collapse there. That was the advent of Thatcher and conservatism, and that crushed the Labour Party. Then you can see there was a brief little hiatus where it improved a little bit. That coincides with the return of Tony Blair in the mid to late 90s, and then it collapsed again, and you can see it hit all-time lows. But then look at the interesting thing. Look at the Jeremy Corbyn effect. And as you can see in 2020, in terms of membership, individual membership, it actually shot back up again till a level not seen really before since the 1960s. And what happened then, folks? What happened then? Well, what happened then was in 2019, the Labour Party suffered its biggest defeat since 1935. So proving that political parties membership and votes are two very, very different things. This was the guy. Here he is, looking dreadful, but anyway, this is Tony Blair, 2021 style. This was the last Labour Prime Minister. He was finally shuffled out of power so that Gordon Brown could lose the 2010 election, and that was essentially the end of Labour in government. And during the Blair years, the damage done to the United Kingdom, in my view, was profound and probably without any way back. For example, the devolution settlements that he put in place essentially are ticking time bombs, which, as we've seen in Scotland and to a lesser degree in Wales, will destroy the union. But Tony Blair, he was the last Labour Prime Minister. And mostly over the last 100 years, Labour have not been in power. They struggled to get in power. And as we've just seen in the votes in the UK and last couple of days, outside of London, where I think the demographics favour Labour, London's a very unusual demographic, Labour has been vanquished. And you can see the collapse in it votes. So yes, it's won a couple of mayoral contests. Yes, it's won London. It's lost everything else, pretty much. And it lost Hartlepool by-election. So you can see that the purpose of Labour has gone. If Labour ever was about the working class, that's patently gone, because actually the working class, to a significant degree, are gone as well. We now have the pampered the pampered public sector class, which the Tories are quite happy to appease. And the days of Labour doing all the big spending are out the window because the Tories are doing the big spending. So essentially, Blair got into power by pretending to be a midway point between Conservative and Labour. And Conservatives are staying in power by being a midway point between Conservative and Labour, with Labour spending policies, but the pretense of being ever so conservative, which they're plainly not. So I don't believe that in 2021, as we now face a day where there will be recriminations in Labour, there will be sackings, there will be a reshuffling. Honestly, this is reshuffling the deck chairs on the Titanic. Labour has ceased to be. It's no longer an effective English party. It may have some resonance in Wales, but Wales is a very small part of the United Kingdom. And regardless of which, anyway, no matter how well it does in Wales, given that it's been wiped out in Scotland by the SNP, Labour can no longer claim to be a potential party of government. At best, it's a party of minority interest in a few areas, and that's it. So I don't think there's anything that Labour can do to reignite their fortunes, or anything that they could do that they would be prepared to do. Let's put it that way. There are some things they could do, but they won't do those things. Ultimately, Labour and the Tories, it is the uni party, but the Conservatives look more efficient, and because of that, they attract the votes. So, the days of a Labour government have gone. And after 120 years, it had a good innings, you could say, Labour Party. But now, in my view, it's Labour Party RIP. What do you think? Do you think there's a way back? Do you think what if so? What might that be? How could it happen? What have they done that? What could they do that they haven't done? These are all questions for you to perhaps let me know what you think in the comment thread below. Do make sure you follow me over on brand YouTube. Let's break the YouTube big tech tyranny, and I'll see you over there for other content. But let me know what you think about this here on this channel. Many thanks.